head. That is the most head I've ever seen.
So Adam's never seen a porno. Like Whoa, whoa. If I have a treasure, never put a soul ring on it. If I have a treasure, never put a soul ring on it. Don't be mad once you see that I have it. If I have a treasure, never put a soul ring on it.
Nice Beyonce.
Yeah.
You put a ring on it. Nice. Yeah. You know what's funny is I wanted to do... Oh, it is. It is single ladies, isn't it? Wait, all the single ladies? All the single ladies?
Yeah, I didn't do that part. If you So, you remember when we were talking about Commander and I stopped in the middle of it and I was like, I have an idea? This was it right here.
Very nice. Well, welcome to Commander Smiths.
We are the Commander Smiths.
I am Adam Smith.
And I am Lowry Smith. And we are cousins.
Sometimes.
What?
I don't know.
You don't get a choice in this. It is always or never, and it's always.
I guess.
We always say it. This is episode 35?
35, yes. Right. Okay, so after this episode, we will get back into our normal rotation of episodes and recordings, because we've been double dipping. Double dipping
is
episodes.
The best treat.
Yeah.
Dippin' Dots. Future of ice cream.
This week's... No, wait. You know what? You can follow us on Twitter. At Commander Smiths.
You can also email us at commandersmiths@gmail.com. There's no at the beginning.
Yep, don't do that. At commandersmiths@gmail.
It's just commandersmiths@gmail.com.
And then YouTube us.
I have like the easiest one. I'll fuck it up.
Follow, subscribe, share our podcast. But like I said a couple weeks ago, or it might have been last week, I don't know. All these are mixed up.
Tell a friend. Yeah. They might like us. Maybe not,
we have a lot
but
more,
they might.
A lot more listens because of we got the Android users up and running, and our YouTube has gone down.
It.
So it's
an equal mix.
There we go.
Nobody likes YouTube anyway. Bunch of jerks.
Not until we get videos. Videos are coming someday. They are coming someday.
And then YouTube will be really sweet.
It'll be awesome.
I'll really like them.
So this week we are card intensive this week, aren't we?
So we're going to do core cards for Commander Red.
Core cards for Commander.
I don't know why you say it like that.
That's what you normally say. I was just following
Normally?
You. I thought you were going to jump in there and say it that way.
I've never sounded like that in my life.
Oh, you want me to go back to the other episodes and plug it in there?
I would love you to do more work.
This is going to be very easy to do. Core cards for Commander.
What? You have copies of all this stuff?
That just happened.
Bring it. Bring it. Let's see what you can do.
I've never
work your magic.
Said that. What is another one that I cut up in?
Antiquities.
Never
said it like that either. I've only spoken. It was
repeated like 4 times. I loved that. Anyway, so we are core intensive. So core cards for Commander Red. This is our final of the... Well, I guess we got lands still to come up.
Oh, we have lands, and then we have multicolored cards.
But I was going to say final of the single stuff. You know, we have the artifacts, single colors.
I feel like we should do like CCC...
Single ladies. It's
Eldrazi.
Our single lady... CCC Eldrazi. That's only going to be like 6 cards.
No, there's at least 10 good ones.
Yeah,
definitely.
So it'll be a top 10.
We can do that.
Eldrazi.
We can do that. It's called Desperation.
Yeah.
And we can do it.
Yeah, we can at some point do it. And then we are going to actually finish the episode up with our Amonkhet rotation specs.
Yeah, so this actually might be a decent length versus the last 3 weeks that were
really freaking long.
Almost an hour and a half on each. So thank you for putting up with us for that amount of time.
And by this point, Lowry should be in Germany, and
I'll
be getting back?
Be just getting back, probably, yeah.
And when this episode comes out. So, yeah, I think that's it for this. So why don't we start it off? Let's do our core cards for Commander Red. Core cards for Commander.
All right.
You want to start us off with our... Well, we all know what the number 1 card is for Red, right?
I don't know.
Perforos?
Yeah,
What?
Okay.
Wait, you're looking
confused. Well, actually... Well, so I put this list together because Adam is still lazy.
No, I'm not. He's such a douche. Yeah, Larry did put this list together because I had a lot of freaking...
I'm a big dumb dummy. Like we went through this before and we added a couple of cards onto the list that I have. But I sang the song about Treasure Nabber and it's not on our list. And it should definitely be on our list.
It should be on the list.
I don't know why it's not.
All right. Well, you don't even need to write it. Just say Treasure Nabber.
We're not there yet.
Well, Perforos is one of the ultimate cards to have in red because anytime you're playing a creature, you freaking deal damage and you can do some freaking sick combos with that. So if you don't have a Perforos, that is probably one of the number one cards to get.
Token decks, if it's commander, it's really hard to get rid of. Perforos is amazing. Get yourself one. It's like $22, but it's probably not going to get reprinted. And like I just said, like Krenko, it's crazy. Another card that's pretty similar to it, a lot cheaper. It's a common, Impact Tremors. That's just whenever a creature comes into play, it deals 1 damage to each opponent.
You also have Warstorm Surge, which that one does it for their power, right?
For the power, yeah.
So you're playing a dragon deck, play your dragons out, and doesn't have to be cast. It's when a creature comes into play.
Yeah.
So if you're making tokens and they're coming into play, you're doing damage to the face.
This card,
or any target. So actually, it's target creature, player, or planeswalker. Mm-hmm. So. All 3 of those are perfect for red, and red is fast Mage. That didn't.
I can't even help you. Fast Mage.
I was gonna say face smash, and then it just went fast Mage. I don't know how. Fast Mage. Yes.
Right. You know what? I'm going to help you talk.
Yeah, give me a beer so I can get through this episode. Maybe if I would have had a beer, it would have flipped my words back around.
Probably
Fast
not.
Mage.
So if you guys remember from 2 weeks ago... Whoop, I don't...
Uh-oh, it's fizzing.
I know. This is...
Hey, you took a sip.
I didn't touch it. It's really bubbly.
That's what she said, too.
All right, let's... This might take a couple pours, honestly. This sucker's like champagne. But this is another sour.
Yes! And as you know from 2 weeks ago, I love sour. Holy head. That is the most head I've ever seen. Seriously, the glass is... I'm taking a picture of this, and I'm tweeting this out, too.
So Adam's never seen a porno. Like
that is a ton of head, Larry.
Way too much head.
That is getting tweeted.
So that's just going to sit there.
No, watch, you're going to pour yours perfect here.
No, this is perfect. I poured yours perfect, and then it's just a really excited beer.
That's a lot less head.
Yeah, well, like I opened it and stuff was coming out, so...
Okay,
so maybe I should actually talk about this one. This is Hardenier. It's a Belgian-style pale ale, and it's... maybe it's not a sour. I was wrong about that.
I was really excited.
Yeah, that's what happens. Good luck.
All right, let's see if I can get past the head. I don't think I can.
You're going to have to wait a little bit. How does the head taste?
Yeah, it's definitely not a sour.
I hope everybody laughed out there.
This is okay.
Well, you could just go eat a dick.
Well, we are talking about head.
All right, moving on.
I like the sour better.
Good. That's good for me to know. I'm trying to zero in. The next round that we're going to kind of talk about is going to be surrounding damage. And the number one card that is on EDH Rec that we very much agree with is Blasphemous Act. This is essentially 1 red mana to deal 13 damage to all creatures on the battlefield.
Yeah, because it costs 1 less for each creature that's on the battlefield.
So this card is an amazing board wipe because you can, wipe the board and then play your creatures afterwards because it's super cheap.
Yep. And you could do some stupid stuff with it, throwing out like stuffy dolls or something like that. So the damage goes straight to the face, or you have your other creatures. What's the Boros guy that when it gets dealt damage to him, you can redirect it as well? He's like the Minotaur guy.
Yeah.
You've played.
I remember it. Yeah,
he's your guy.
I know.
He's your buddy. He's like.
I remember Spitebare, which is from Shadowmoor.
Yeah,
but,
that's another one.
Or maybe Eventide, one of the two. Boros Reckoner.
Yeah,
there we go.
So
that's
you could do some.
Yeah, Mog Maniac, and if you have all 4 of those out, you just killed everybody, or at least somebody.
So you can do some sick things with that, not only with wiping the board, but being able to damage to the face.
Yep. Yeah, no. And I actually have this in my Indestructible Tajik deck. And so it's just like wipe the board super cheap, still have a bunch of indestructible creatures in play, do your deal.
Or even better, you do the, this is playing 3 colors now, but the swans.
Yeah, and then you can draw 13
cards because you're the source of doing the damage.
I like it. I like it.
And the swans don't die either.
They don't. They
Stop
stick
looking
around.
at me, swan.
Some other cards that are similar to that. I always like playing Earthquake. I've been using Mizium Mortars more and more, which deals like you can what is that Return to Ravnica ability that's on man, I'm really fucking up here.
The flashback stuff?
No. Like... You can play it from your hand for more, and then it just deals it to opponents. Overload.
Oh,
there we
go.
Yeah. So you can overload it and deal 4 damage to each creature you don't control.
I like Balefire Dragon because it's a dragon.
Yeah. Oh, and one card that I've been liking more and more for that stuff is Chandra's Ignition as well, which is a 5-mana sorcery, and it deals damage to each other creature and each other player or each opponent. The amount of damage, or what is the wording? So this creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. And so, like, if your creature that you're using has lifelink, it gains, like, if you have 4 creatures out and it's a 5/5 with lifelink, you gained like 40 life.
Yeah.
Or if it has Death Touch, and it's dealing that damage to the players. So, like, last time I used it, I had like a 20/20. I killed every other creature and dealt each of my opponents 20 damage. Like, it's really quite good. So, moving on. The next batch would be like Mana Ramp.
So you got your Curse of Opulence, so that's
which has gone up a ton.
It's so freaking good.
It's around like $8 now.
I know. I should have picked it up when it was like $1 or $2 because it's a 1-drop enchantment for that.
1-drop enchantment,
and then when anybody attacks that person, they get a treasure token. Plus, you get a treasure token. So who doesn't want mana? Plus, it's adding tokens. Artifact tokens, treasure stuff.
And when we talked about this card, like, this card's really good if you put it in your like Saheeli the Gifted deck because it's giving you artifacts. Like, right. It's a really good card in red. Another one is
this one you have played a little bit. I haven't played with this one. I don't have this one, so this is one of the core cards I have to pick up. But that's the damage, right?
You get a red mana in your second mana or main phase for each or life lost by your opponents.
So then, when you cast it, you can potentially. It has what is it?
Afflict 4.
Afflict. So you could do damage, right? Isn't that what Afflict is, or it gets counters?
If it's blocked, it deals 4. Like, that player loses 4 life.
That's right.
It's like just really good ramp. I had used this in my Xantcha deck that I built back then.
That's why I recently saw that one, right?
Yeah. So this card is really good, and it's a good ass. It's it's a good ass. So then we get into, and then there's also Treasure Nabber, which we've talked about a couple times. Treasure Nabber is just going to take every mana rock on the table essentially, and it's just going to boost you really quick. There are other like sorcery spells that will get you a lot of mana really quick, like at 5-ish. So you could also do that.
Yeah, Treasure Nabber's it's a new card, but it's definitely a core card because it's so freaking good, especially Commander. Definitely agree with that.
So I would suggest making sure that you at least have one Treasure Nabber.
Then our next batch is kind of your double attack phases, which you like to have that with red because you're normally attacking with a lot of stuff. One of the better ones, because it's a dragon, Scourge of the Throne.
And you use that in your coin flipping deck.
Coin flying deck. Yep, my coin flying deck. Yeah, I definitely use
beer.
No, wait, we drank the beer because I was messing up, and now you drank it, and now you're messing up.
I didn't mess up.
My coin flying deck. But then you have Aggravated Assault and Seize the Day, which do the same thing. Aggravated Assault is really nice because if you potentially have enough mana to do it, you can do it multiple times because it costs 5, and then after that turn, you can take an additional.
There are plenty of cards that go infinite with this as well. So, like, there's the Bear Umbra,
right?
That will untap your lands. You have just stuff that will untap your lands or double the mana and stuff like that. Like, it's definitely good.
Yeah. And then our next section, why don't you go through those two? Because I just got my copy of this guy. So
one card that I really like, 2 of them, is Splinter Twin and Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. You basically, Kiki-Jiki, you tap and it copies a card. I love it on multiple different effects. Like, it works good with Warstorm Surge, or if you're trying to double tokens.
Or even if you're just trying to have your creature not necessarily die, that's going to be sacrificed anyways.
Yeah.
So you're making a copy of it and having it actually run through and do damage or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's bonkers with like any of the Titans or the Gear Hoofs.
Any enter the battlefield stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it on Craterhoof Behemoth, and people were mad. Like,
and people were mad. I wonder why.
I played Craterhoof, copied Craterhoof, and they were like, what the fuck?
Well, and actually, I haven't got to test this out yet, but they're both in my Brutaclaw deck. Yeah. So I'm very excited to...
So, yeah, I think those two cards, at least get yourself one copy of each. They're crazy cool.
For sure. And I had said it a couple weeks ago, but Kiki Jiki right now, the foils, Iconic Masters, you can get for pretty dang cheap.
Did you mean Iconic?
Iconic Masters.
Iconic.
From Antiquities. Next section is our taking extra turn stuff. So the number one bad boy of it. An extra turn. Sorry, drawing.
So yeah, you draw extra cards.
Number one bad boy is your Wheel of Fortune.
It's where the term wheeling comes from.
Exactly.
If you did not know, it comes from Wheel of Fortune.
Which, very similar to
everybody discards a hand, draw 7 cards.
And Magus of the Wheels, that in creature form.
Reforge the Soul is the miracle form of it. You have a couple of dragons that do that kind of stuff.
You have Winds of Change, which is everybody shuffles there and draws that many. Faithless Looting is the...
you draw 2, discard 2, and it has flashback. I like it just as cheap, like graveyard fodder a little bit.
Yeah.
And the flashback's really nice as well. You have Outpost Siege, which kind of works double duty of if you have any creature die or leave the battlefield, you get to deal damage if you so choose, and if not, during your upkeep, you get to exile the top card. It's just like more draw. Red struggles with card advantage or drawing cards, and so even though these aren't like amazing, quote unquote, even though you can use them to very good effect, these are pretty important to have in a red deck.
Right. Yep. If you have the money to do it, get your wheel.
But wheel's like over $100, so I totally understand if you don't have it.
We got ours a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But anyways, next section... Do we want to do...
It's kind of random.
Yeah.
This one doesn't
This is a
really
random
have
section.
Yeah. And then after that, we'll have better...
in the middle of... random in the middle of our list.
And we'll do random one at the end, too. So Shared Animosity is more for tribal decks. In my mind, I would put this in any red tribal deck.
Right.
And so what it is for each creature attacking, it gives another creature +1/+0 for each one that shares a creature type with it. Kind of confusing because I probably didn't remember it correctly. But so like I had it in my Locust God deck when I had it. And so
Locust God?
Just saying. Because you're drawing all these cards and then you're able to have a bunch of Locusts.
Mentioned the most in this podcast. It is Locust God.
If you have 5 1/1 Locusts attacking, they all get +4/+0. And so you're attacking with 5/1 flying. It's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Or if Goblin decks are pretty common tokens.
Yeah, that would be
and stuff like that. That's the most obvious one.
But he went with Locust God
because that is the best one.
Then you have Sneak Attack, which Sneak Attack is what is it? It's an enchantment 1 red 3 colorless.
Correct.
And then it's tap 1 red.
Correct.
And then you can play a creature from your hand. It gains haste until end of turn, and then you gotta sack it at the end of turn.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy everywhere. But you could do... Oh man, there's so much stuff you can do.
What I normally do with this one is like if I have a higher CMC creature deck, so like a Reanimator or something, I'm able to get that out, get the effect that I want, and then it's also in my graveyard to reanimate later on in the game. Or if you just have like this, just it's potentially like a more aggressive Elvish Piper.
Yeah,
that's harder to kill. If you have bigger creatures that have a good ETB, then you want that for a cheap, and maybe you can like regrowth it back to your hand later on in the game. Like there's a bunch of possibilities, but getting like a 7-mana creature, Balefire Dragon on turn 5, and just wipe somebody's board and then do it later if you can reanimate it or something.
Well, and that's crazy. The thing is it's instant speed, and it's also you can do it multiple times. Unlike Elvish Piper, you have to tap it. You get one creature. If you have a stack full of cards in your hand, which let's say you somehow did that.
Okay. I like the scenario that you're
Wheel of Fortune, get your 7 new cards, and then you go 7 cards out. 5 of those cards are creatures.
I was almost like, even skip that. Just like go sneak attack, next turn, go like 5 red, put 5 huge creatures into play, have only Wheel of Fortune in your hand.
And then play.
And then the next turn, Wheel of Fortune cards into your hand.
I can't believe you didn't go this route. You play Locust God because then you sacrifice it, and because it goes to your graveyard, it goes back to your hand.
That's a really good point.
And then you do it again on their turn, and it's sacrificed. You just have a continuous blocker that keeps...
It's probably better with Scorpion God. So.
Oh, he's such a douche. He's such a douche.
I don't know why you're so mad about this. I can like other gods. I'm not I'm not monotheistic or anything.
We've already discussed this. We think Locust God is the most mentioned card in this freaking podcast.
I would disagree.
We have to listen back to all the episodes.
It's not overstated, though. I think it's the right amount, if not understated. I should probably say Locust God
at
more.
least 3 or 4 more times an episode.
I agree.
Where are we? Okay, and then another card, a newer card that added to
this
the list.
This is one that Adam contributed. Thank you very much for your one card.
Hey, no, I have 2 cards because you didn't see that one until later. Atali Primal Storm. This is a card I've spec'd on 2 before, but I think this is a pretty damn good card because it's a 6-drop 6/6, right? Is that what it is? I believe it is. But then when you attack with it, fuck you.
You should know your one card. Yeah, it's a 6-mana 6/6.
When it attacks, you exile the top card of everybody's library, and then you may play that card for free. Is pretty much what it is.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a 4-player game, you're playing 4 cards for free.
Yeah.
That is so much advantage.
So it's
even if it's shitty, like you're still getting some good advantage there.
And it's currently, it's only in what do we figure? Was it 3,000?
It's under 3,000.
3,000 EDH decks, which isn't a lot at the moment, but it is also a new set. It's only been out for a year, and it is.
That one's 9 months at this point because that was in the second one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
In Rivals.
That's the later one that we talked about. That's in it for a year. So, but yeah, that's I think a pretty sick card to have. What's our next section?
This one's going to be the Enter the Battlefield creatures.
ETB.
So Pia and Kiran Nalar. That when that comes into play, you get to put 2 1/1 Thopters into play, and then you can sacrifice artifacts to deal 2 damage. And so you can kind of the activated ability plus the ETB is pretty nice. You could Splinter Twin this and still just get 2 Thopters, even though you don't really get the benefit of having the other legendary creature. That's still not a bad deal.
Yeah.
And then just 4 mana, it's nice and compact. It puts, I think 5 power on the board. It's pretty powerful.
And it's not that expensive either to get that.
No, it's cheap.
My favorite though out of this, I'm kind of skipping, is Inferno Titan.
You did skip. Yeah, Inferno Titan is bonkers. I love this card.
Yeah.
I love all the Titans for the most part.
But Inferno Titan being able to split that up. Frost is pretty good. You just always forget that you try to kill it and you're like, oh shit, I got to cast 2 more. This sucks.
It does suck.
But being able to split that 3 damage up is pretty ridiculous too in itself because you can ping things off. If you give it frickin' haste, you can do 6 damage that first turn.
Or Death Touch.
Yeah, that's
Foreshadowing in the Niv Mizzet, the prune eater.
But this is episode 35, so you're backshadowing. You backshadow. I just made that word up. Backshadowing.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing. Oh wait, we talked about it last week. This is fucking us up. We did. So just so you know how this order went.
We have told them 16 times at this point.
But no, I don't think we explained these part. We just said we were doing 30. Was it 31?
32 and 34, and then 33 and 35.
Yeah,
and we're on 35 right now. Correct.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It is the last one we're recording.
Yep.
It is the very last one. But the other ones are all.
We're gonna do it all right after this. So I apologize.
Backshadowing. What's some other?
It's you're just under a tree for shade. Back shadow.
It's hairy back.
I always like Dual Caster Mage because it generally catches people off guard. When it comes into play, you can copy a instant or sorcery that's on the stack.
Siege Gang Commander is that's the one with the goblin tokens, right?
Yeah, so it comes into play. It's a 2/2. You can sacrifice goblins for 2 to deal 2 damage, and it comes into play with 3 1/1 tokens. So it's just like kind of like 5 power spread over 3 bodies. Like I used to kind of have it in my Gahiji deck. Like again, if you have a token deck like Parallel Lives in play, it puts 6 1/1 tokens. Like if these are things you look to do and enjoy in Magic, I think you should do it. So
next is I'm kind of
haste
jumping.
enablers. I mean, you have a bunch of ones that
You got
aren't very
Anger,
interesting.
which is
Anger's a good one.
Well,
if it's in your graveyard and you have a mountain, all of your creatures when they have haste.
the only what I was going to say is this was one of I never said it as a spec. I did spec on this one for foils because there's only one foil printing of this.
Yeah, Back in Judgment.
So these, if you want to get these nice little shiny guys, I picked up a couple of them, but I got them for like $10 or whatever. But it's been printed a whole bunch. It just there's only one foil printing of it. So
sure. Yeah.
What's the other guy we got?
Urbrask, Hidden, which is the Praetor, which we have said every Praetor that up to this point.
And that's yours get haste, and everybody else's is tapped.
Comes into play taps.
Right.
So
and it's 5, is that right?
5 mana,
2 red and 3.
4/4 haster.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It kind of does a lot of stuff. So there are other cards that give haste and like Fervor's an enchantment. They're just not as fun or interesting in my mind. So like you can go out and find other haste enablers.
But these are definitely the best too. I like those.
I enjoy them.
Next ones are are removal-ish.
Yes.
So our number one is
Chaos Warp. Chaos Warp hits anything.
Yeah.
And then, they shuffle
and
that
sometimes
into play.
You can get lucky like Lowry and they flip over a better card or the same card.
I believe that means unlucky. This is
Backshadowing.
Very true. I just always get unlucky with this one. I still think it's really good.
It is
I try and put
good.
it in most of my red decks, but it's Backshadowing.
I don't know why I like that word a lot now. Volcanic Offering. I can't picture that one off the top of my head.
So that's a 5 mana instant, and then you can deal 7 damage to a creature and then destroy a land, and then that player gets to choose 7 damage to a creature that you don't control and destroy a land you don't control.
So you're nailing 2 players. Not if I'm playing green and red and I cast this.
But you didn't even know what it was.
I know.
This is what I'm doing to kill Gaia's Cradle. So, but 7 damage is pretty significant. You're basically killing 2 creatures. Now, if people are trying to gang up on you, they're just going to kill the other player's worst creature. But if there's equal footing from everybody, they might try and go out and kill the biggest creature.
For some reason, this section, these are the ones that I'm not as familiar with. So we got Fiery Confluence and Fiery Kavu. Is the Kavu the...
When it comes into play, it deals 4 damage to a creature.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. So it's the one that has the little... It's like a big...
It's spitting a...
Yeah, it's like a little thing shooting. Okay, I was right with that.
And then Fiery
Confluence is the choosing one?
So you get to choose...
2?
There's 3 choices, and you get to choose 3, and you can choose them more than once.
Okay.
So this one's a sorcery that's 2 red, 2 colorless, and then you can. One of the choices is destroy an artifact. One of the choices is each player is dealt 1 damage, and then another choice is each creature is dealt 2 damage. And so maybe that's switched around. Maybe it's 2 damage to each player, and then 1 damage to each creature.
Okay.
That sounds more right. So, but this card's really good.
Well, now you're making...
It's really expensive at this point because it was kind of played in a Legacy big red deck. But this was created in the commander sets. The confluences are really powerful. If you think commands are powerful, confluences are very powerful. So, all right.
Well, now you're making me look it up.
Yeah, he's going to look this up and kind of tell me that I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, I don't have... Do I have that one?
1 damage to each creature, and then 2 damage to each opponent, or destroy an artifact. And you can choose 3 choices, any of those, more than once if you so choose.
Yeah, and we're looking at $17.
This card is really good. I love this card. So it's very versatile.
Yep. And then we have By Force. This one, I don't...
You probably have it.
I do it. Yeah, I bought a lot of Amonkhet. But it's red and X, and you destroy X target artifact. So you're wiping everybody else's soul rings, and
you're getting to choose which artifacts that you're destroying.
Right.
I like this. It's more. There's another card called Shattering Spree, and that's a red, and for each red that you pay, you can destroy an artifact. Now, like, if you're in mono red, Shattering Spree is the card. It's over $10, but it's getting a reprint in the guild kits that are coming out soon. 2 weeks from now? Foreshadowing.
Oh, that's backshadowing.
No, we're going forward.
We talked about it now.
But it's coming out in November. That's what I'm saying. Foreshadowing.
2 episodes backshadowing.
That's when we talked about it. But it's coming out in 2 weeks from now.
Or did we talk about it tonight?
We did.
Yeah, and this is a much cheaper version than your.
But it just, this one I like better in multicolored spells.
Yeah,
like, I think it's just one
pay
more red, but
yeah.
it's Axe, so you can soul ring with it, and it just feels a lot better. This could be a good spec too.
So then you had Shattering Spree on there as well.
Did I put that there?
Yep. And
good for me.
Vandal Blast.
Vandal Blast is another one that I really like. So, because that destroys all other opponent's artifacts for 5 or 1 red to just destroy 1 artifact. So it's versatile in that way.
The Overload?
Yep.
Overload cost. Yep. Then we get into what's our next section here.
This one's more of like kind of Red's version of Reanimator. So it's more focused on artifact decks, but most artifact decks are going to kind of have red in it.
Because you have Goblin Wielder you sacrifice an artifact to bring an artifact back from your graveyard to play.
And you generally want to do that with you, but you could also do it against somebody else's. Yeah, if you were so inclined. And then Duretti can kind of do that same thing where you sacrifice an artifact, bring an artifact back into play. Duretti also, you can discard up to 2 cards and draw up to 2 cards. Duretti is just a really solid planeswalker. I think I have it in like 3 decks currently. Mm-hmm. Trash for Treasure is just a sorcery version of Goblin Welder.
The next one I like is the Feldon of the third party. I use this one quite a bit because you're making a copy token of your creature in a graveyard. You're not removing that creature, but it's also a is that an artifact? No, it's just a token.
It's an artifact token.
It is, okay.
I believe so.
But you're making a copy of it. Are we right? Oh, right in front of us. Yeah, it is an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste, and then you sacrifice it. So the cool thing is actually I have this in my Brutaclad deck. The fact that it's not exiled, you can do some interesting things with that as well.
And so if a creature is going to the graveyard has effect, like Wormcoil Engine and such, you also get that, like the death triggers off of it.
Right. Yeah, the same thing with that new 12/12, and then when he dies, you get a 6/12.
Oh, yeah.
So you're sacrificing, getting a 6/12, and you keep getting that guy back. And
that seems cool.
Yeah, and the nice thing is a lot of times when they do that, you exile the creature that you're copying from the graveyard. This doesn't, so you can keep doing that each turn. Yeah. So
going back to Dualcaster Mage real quick, they do have a lot of cards
that's backshadowing.
Yeah. That copy spells. There are a bunch. I didn't put them on the list, but I probably maybe should have. One thing that I think I like the ones that say any spell, instant, or sorcery on the stack. The ones that state like a spell that you cast, I don't like those nearly as much because
you're limited.
Yeah. So I generally like what other people are doing, and I'm jealous. So I'm like, hey,
I just want to.
What I do is
I want to play with your stuff.
Yeah. So
that should be one of we should do a deck where it's you don't play any of your cards. Everything that your cards do is just dealing with everybody else's. I want that, and I copy that, and I do that.
If you want a good list of cards that double, go and look back at my Xancha list, because I did a bunch of those.
Just copying
spells. Yeah, I had like 4 or 5 in there.
And then we get into, what do we call this next section, Lowry?
Random. There's going to be another
random in this list.
I think the rest of them are random.
Okay. So we have Combustible Gear Hulk. We had talked about that as one of our cards to go after with this rotation.
This can be really painful if somebody chooses to take the damage and have those cards go into the graveyard.
Yeah.
But it's also drawing 3 cards straight up while having, I think it's like a 4/5 first striker. Like, it's a lot of power. And then if you have any sort of doubling effect like Kikijiki, you can just keep on doing it, or some type of reanimation, which works with if they want to put stuff in your graveyard, you can bring that back or anything else. Like, this card is really powerful.
And then what? Burp. That's not a card.
This one's mine. It's not really on EDH Rec or anything, but
yeah, you're going to have to inform me on this one.
Lathless Dragon Queen. This one came out with Core 2019. So it's whenever you have another non-dragon creature come into play, you get to put a 4/4 dragon token into play.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this card seems bonkers.
Yeah, you don't have to play a dragon deck, and this just turns into a dragon deck.
Yeah, it seems really powerful. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see it more and more in decks. So,
Stigma Lasher. Which one is that again?
So this one is a 2/2 with... God dang it. So if it hits you, basically the point is if it hits you, that player can't gain life.
Oh, yeah, that is a very good card.
And so if you're stopping specific people... like,
and it
if
doesn't matter if you kill that creature, they can't gain life.
It stays there.
Yeah,
and so it's like if you hate that Aloro player, if you can get this turn 2 and hit them turn 3, you should be pretty happy.
Stupid. Jeremy has this one. He plays this one a little bit.
I have this one as well.
The next one I like a lot is this one we've talked about on a bunch of our decks recently. The Raging Storm. That's the one where they make 3/1s that have haste. Everybody gets one, but then
5/1s.
Are they 5/1s?
They're 5/1.
5/1 trample haste, but they can't attack you.
Correct.
So you're giving power to the board, and the other players can decide not to attack, but a lot of times they do. Unless you're ahead.
Just toss it around.
Then people just go, fuck it, I'll just let it die. But still, you get a 5/1 as well that attacks anybody that you want, and whatever. You can do some crazy things with that. We're still in randomness then?
Yeah, I don't know why I dashed them. All right. Disrupt Decorum. That has all your opponent's goad. So their creatures can't attack you. They have to attack another opponent.
Is that from this last commander set? No, 2 commander sets.
2 commanders ago, yeah.
That is a very good card.
Yeah, this card's up over 10 at this point as well. But this card, like, it just fogs for a turn, deals a ton of damage because it forces other creatures to attack. Like, it's good.
Is Price of Glory, is that the...
That's the one I spec'd on in the last month.
Backshadowing. That's the tapping.
You owe me a beer.
What is that one again?
So if a player taps a land on not their turn, they got to sacrifice that land.
Okay.
So it's just an enchantment that stays in play.
That's the one where
if you don't like counter spells, play this card.
Yeah, because it'll make people not counter. Godo is the next one. That one I've used in a couple decks here.
Yeah, just goes for any equipment and puts it into play.
Yeah. So if you have any equipment in the you're gonna have your freaking Lightning Greaves or whatever. Like,
I was gonna make fun of you if you said Lightning Greaves. I'm not going to. But what's the quote from Inception? Like, don't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling. I think he says that too. But yeah, it's. I want to just go and get huge.
Well, no, I'm more thinking of like. This could go in a lot of decks because you don't need to have necessarily an equipment deck, but you're going to have Lightning Greaves pretty much in every deck. So you're going to go get
any specific piece that you need.
Yeah. I personally would go for the Dominaria one because that one I love.
And you did it in your Foin Flippin deck. I did that one on purpose. It did not come out nearly as funny. I apologize. I forced that one.
Then we got next one's you, I believe.
It's you. Temple with Vengeance.
Yeah, I guess.
Temple with Vengeance is another one of those cards that I really enjoy. So this one's red and X sorcery, and then X's you get to put that many 1/1 elementals with haste into play. And then each of your opponents get to choose if they want that many.
And then you get more.
And if they say yes, you get those as well. And so it's
Tempt with Vengeance. Of course.
It could
That's
be
the one I just put in
creatures.
frickin' Brutaclad.
Oh, did you know?
Yeah, I bought
stole
that.
my idea.
No, I had that. That's been on my list. I forgot. I got that. I had to buy it, though. That was one of the cards I didn't have.
Yeah. So most of the time what it ends up is nobody wants any more creatures so that you don't end up with like 31 one-hasters. And then you just do it with Kahiji.
And then
turn them into 3/1s.
put the hasters or the goblins to the face or whatever, not goblins, whatever, those tokens to the face, you can sacrifice them with Goblin Bombardment, which is another card.
Yeah, and I've talked about free sack outlets a ton. I like to have at least a couple, like 1 or 2 sack outlets in a deck, because if somebody wraths, you just sacrifice all your creatures, deal enough damage, and that's kind of where you get a little bit more value out of that. Or if somebody tries to steal all your creatures,
sack it.
Like this last card, second to last card we're going to talk about,
which
if somebody
in my opinion,
the board,
Insurrection is the game winner for red.
I would agree with that as well.
Yeah. So that was the card that Lowry forgot.
Yes.
And then we were on EDH regular. We didn't have that. But then I also admitted to Lowry, I was like, a lot of times when I'm building a red deck, I forget about it too until I go through my binder and I'm like, oh, because I have, because of all the different sets it was in, I have a full page of those. I'm like, well, I guess I can't forget about it because I have like 6 of them. But yeah. It's a game winner.
A couple of times that I've actually had it in a deck and actually was able to play it, like it's down to like me and one other person, and they don't have any creatures. Like I think I've done this when you had your Skitherix deck. And so I was like, well, I'm going to steal your creatures and poison you to death. And you had a sack outlet. You're like, I'm going to sack all my creatures and I don't die. And like you had a 2/2. And so I just hit you for 2 poison. And then you turned around and killed me. And I was like, shit.
You're saying Insurrection hasn't helped you? Have you won with it then?
I have not.
Oh, see, so I think every time I played it, I've won with it. Insurrection there.
But again, I think I've only had like 2 or 3 times where I could play it. And it just feels like either somebody's able to sacrifice stuff so I don't get that benefit, or like there just aren't a ton of creatures that don't really turn the game or anything. So another thing that I like to do, again, if you have Insurrection, you steal everybody's creatures and you have Goblin Bombardment, you sacrifice all their creatures after you attack.
Right.
That's why Goblin Bombardment's probably better than any card in red. My opinion. That's probably my most used card in red, in my opinion, yeah.
Then the last thing is, and this was another ad by Adam. Thank you very much. I got my 2 ads in there. Sunbirds Invocation. So this is from Ixalan. It's an enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal X cards where X is that converted mana cost. Then you can play, or what does it say? You may cast that card if it costs.
A lot of X's.
Yeah,
there's at least 3 in there.
If it costs X or less, and then put the rest of the cards at the bottom of your library in random order. So it's a good, almost like a draw engine for red in a way, but you're not drawing, you're playing more. But it's a continuous Genesis wave, and in a way, kind of depending on what you're casting. You know what I'm saying? Like. No, not Genesis Waves. I guess
one spell out of it.
What's the other one that's a creature? Genesis Hydra.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
It's a little like that, but it's with your spell. So it's whenever you cast a spell. So you can cast 2 spells and you're doing this twice. So every time you're casting a spell, you're able to do that. So
it can be really powerful if you're able to, like, I think I have this. I might have it in 2 decks. I have it at Ramos, and I think I've talked about this before. And then I have it maybe in my. There's that giant that taps for 4, but it can only be used for X mana. I can't remember the dang. It's from Shadowmoor. Came out in Iconic Masters.
Iconic.
They didn't know I said it like that. But like with the varying. Well, actually, that would suck in that deck. I don't think I have it there. Never mind. It seems like a cool card. It could be used more. We're going to cut that part, right? You know we're not. Fuck you. God damn it.
All right.
It's not in the deck. I had to figure that out.
All right. Now we move on to our next segment.
Which is kind of like our
more
Smith
cards.
specs, but it is rotation for Amonkhet. Top 15 speckable cards.
All right, we'll start off with number 1, and our number 1 card is...
Do you think we should count down, even though this is like 3rd one that we've done? Should we go 15-1? That's how people like that stuff.
Well, I'm not when I'm talking about the top 15. I'm not saying which one is the best.
Yeah, but people want that. They want to be told what.
They want to be told which one is. I'm just saying these are the top 15 cards. We start off with the most expensive, and then we work our way down.
So, all right. Top 15 that we think are expensive down to cheap.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily saying that this is the number one buy that you want to get, because we can do. We have talked about.
I don't want to work that hard. We're just gonna go expensive down and wait.
All right. So Rhonas the Indomitable is. I've wanted this card. I don't have this card, but we're looking at getting in. I mean, if you think how much you think this is going to drop down to? I mean, $7 you're saying for regular, foils down under what?
Well,
15?
so this is a playable god for commander. Like, if you want to look at the Theros gods, they're all a lot of them are very playable, and those that are all like over $10. I think this is one of the few playable ones. I think 3 of the gods are playable in my mind for commander. The blue one is just bad. And then I have to think about the other ones. Like black's
okay.
It's okay. I think it's playable. The white one's pretty good, Oketra. And red one, I haven't been able to play with the red one, Rhonas. Nope, not Rhonas. Whatever, the one that dominated standard. I didn't buy it because it was $20.
Yeah, I got that.
So I don't know if I'd want to be playing that in Commander, because to be good, it's forcing you to like have no hand.
Yeah,
and that's just killer.
I mean, this is good because it's also giving your creatures
pump +2/+0 and trample, and then you're easily going to be able to
creature.
Yeah. If you have any sort of like fight mechanic within green, like this card's amazing on it because a Death Touch is going to kill anything, and it's indestructible. You're going to easily be able to turn this into a creature that can attack. This is a pretty solid card. I just think like if you had like Training Grounds, if you're in like a green-blue deck and you Training Grounds deck, just 1 green to give a creature +2/+0 and trample, cool. You can go big on that one.
Next card.
Liliana.
Wait,
nope.
Number 2.
Thank you. Number 2, Liliana, Death's Majesty. This is the one where I got fucked on a trade. It sucked. The person didn't send, and then they got banned.
What?
I sent, they didn't send.
Oh, yeah, that's weak.
Sucked. That felt bad. That was a feel-bad moment.
Which one?
That was on Deckbox. It was actually kind of funny. Like, the person lives in Minneapolis. Like, I could have literally drove to their house and went, knock, knock, knock. Like, hey, can you send me my card? I was like, no. They have my address, too. Like, that'd be silly. So they just got banned on Deckbox. It's just silly.
It sucks.
I don't know what happened. But she's really good for Reanimator or tokens. And so this card's sitting around $8 right now. I think if you could wait until it gets below 6 before you start picking it up.
For regular foils are 15. Again, Planeswalker foils are a little
tougher to go after. Like people like the foils of people like Planeswalkers in general, but the foils aren't going to drop nearly as much.
Number 3 is one of my favorites from this set. It's Anointed Procession, so that's basically the parallel lives of white.
Yeah.
So you're doubling your tokens.
Right now it's around $6.50. I think you'll be able to get it for under $5.
Possibly.
But the thing is you have a direct parallel with, get it? Parallel lives.
I see what you did there.
And parallel lives is like, I want to say around 8 to 10. So people can look at it and go, well, this card's worth that much at least. And so I can see it not going down nearly as much as it could. So I would probably start looking into it once it's under 5, because this card
or foils
is
under
quite good.
8-ish.
Yeah. And so after that, I would start kind of picking them up.
Yeah, probably try to. I do have the foils of that, but for specking wise, I'll probably try to shoot for the 8. When they get down a little bit.
Yeah. And we should probably reiterate like we have the last 2, but like for trading, I like to wait for about 6 weeks before I start trying to pick up a bunch of these cards if I don't have them. And then if you're looking to buy 2 to 3 months out from rotation, you kind of want to be looking into it, because that's when a bunch of the cards out. If they're more casual, they might not dip nearly as much. Yada yada. You should have paid attention to the last ones.
All right, our next one.
Gideon of the Trials. This card just seems really sweet. like not losing the game if you have a Gideon Planeswalker.
Yeah,
in play.
it's a
like,
Gideon tribal.
That seems really cool. So I think this is a solid card. Right now it's sitting around 7. I think it'll drop down a bit, but I think you can get it. If it's dropping around 5, I'd be happy to pick it up for that much. Foils again are probably decently high, so I'd start looking. If you're wanting a foil, maybe under 15, you could start doing something like that.
And then number 5, we have Liliana Death Wielder. We're only saying go for foils.
There's only foils of it.
Which one? This was the Planeswalker deck?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I'm not seeing it on here. Yeah. But yeah, so under $3.
Yeah.
It's a Planeswalker foil. Yeah.
And also like it's dealing with -1/-1 counters, and so like there's a slow theme. If they ever come back to it, like -1/-1 counters might actually get like a cohesive deck if it can be in like Jund colors. Because right now you have a section that's in green-black and then another section that's in red-black. And so it's kind of like if we can get a commander that works with all 3 colors, I think it'd be I can see that stuff like
taking off,
spiking and stuff like that.
Next,
I gotta find it.
Vizier.
Vizier of the Menagerie. This
Menagerie.
That's not it.
Totally is it.
No.
Menagerie.
I think you'll be able to probably pick this up for under $2.
I need
easy.
to pick this up. Yeah, it's a pretty good card.
And it's just being able to play creatures off the top of your library. It allows you to cast it for any color of mana. So it's kind of like a color fixer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3/4 for 4, which isn't terrible stats. It gets you some card advantage. I think this is something that you can easily get.
Number 7, I like how you have it listed here, like Lowry. Bicycle Lands.
Bicycle Lands.
I never heard it actually called Bicycle Lands. It's kind of funny.
Well, you cycle them and it costs 2.
2, yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree. I picked up my playset of these early on when they came out. Now that they're going to be dropping down, definitely go for the foils.
Yeah, these ones
get down to 3. You're thinking
are gonna get into bulk for normal. I'll probably sit down. Like right now, you have I think the black blue one's still like over $4 or $5. Like that's gonna drop out once standard rotates. They're not gonna be modern or anything but commander. And I don't even use them a whole ton. Like unless it's a 2-color deck, I'll play it. But if it's not a 2-color deck, I'm not using them.
Yeah, well, but
unless it's a cycle theme,
right?
Thing.
Well, but the other thing with it, I'll say is, and I don't remember if I said it on this podcast or the last one, or it might have been Backshadowing 2 episodes. I don't know. But when it comes to land can be the biggest jumpers, and the fact that these have the basic land types in there can make these go a little higher. So if you can get the foils for $3, I think that's under $3. That's kind of a steal with these, and that's kind of where our list is for that. And that's the first cycle of them. So they're probably gonna have the other ones come out at some point. But anyways, next one.
I mean they're holding off on it. Yeah. Number 8, Combat Celebrant. Right now it's too expensive. It's $3, but you could probably easily get it for under 2. It might just end up going back to bulk. But this one you can exert it and get another attack step. It's pretty cheap for that cost. It's a 4/1, so it's probably going to die, but it's pretty cheap for the cost. And so to be cautious, if you can find it for under 2, do it. If you want to wait, I think you might be able to get it for around $1. Mm-hmm. And anything under $4 for the foil should be perfectly fine.
And then we have number 9, Liliana's Mastery. So this is for your zombie tribal. 5-drop, you get all your zombies get 1/1, and you're basically putting 2 3/3s into play. So for 5, you're getting 6 power on the board. Yeah,
and obviously you're going to be putting this in some type of zombie themed or tribal deck, and you're going
people like them zombies.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at getting this, I mean, you can already probably get this around $1.
Yeah.
But you're looking for your foils. Go for the foils when they get under $2. Definitely a good buy there.
Next one.
10.
Number 10, Lord of the Accursed. This is uncommon. It has actually been kind of going up in price, but it's a lord, and then it gives all your zombies menace if you tap it.
Again, with the +1/+1 for your zombies. So.
Yeah. So this one's a pretty good card. I feel like you should be able to find this for under $1 at the end of the 3 months. And you could probably find the foil for under $2 at that point as well. And that's kind of where I would go with it. So
nice. Number 11, Soul Scar Mage. This guy we're looking at, so it has the prowess ability, but the nice thing is if a source you control will deal non-combat damage, you can put that many -1/-1 counters on target creatures. So you can actually kill other creature. You doing it's non-combat damage, right? To a creature an opponent controls. Yeah. So lightning bolt something, plus you're doing -3 to something, right?
What? It just gives the -3/-3. So like
instead. Yeah, there we go.
So if it's like an indestructible creature, you could still bolt it and it would die. Or if you're like, if this is in play and you have a bolt for some reason, you can if it's a 4/5, you bring it down to a 1/2.
Yeah, it just keeps the counters on it. So
and so it makes burn a little bit more viable, even if like creatures are certainly out of reach.
Looking for foils under 3.
Yeah, I think you'd probably be able to find this card for under $1 as well eventually. Number 12?
Yep.
Throne of the God-Pharoh. This one is an artifact for 2, and basically at the end of your turn, for each tapped creature you control, each opponent is dealt 1 damage. And so like I feel like this is really powerful in like swarm decks, and it seems to be decently popular. So I think you'll be able to find it for under $3. I'm actually questioning myself if that was the right card. Yes, I'm going to say it was the right card that I said.
Number.
Maybe I'm not right.
Wait, what do you want me to pull it up? Throne
of the God-Pharoh. Oh yeah, no. That's right. I was thinking God-Pharaoh's Gift.
Yeah,
which is a bit different.
Yeah,
which is a lot different.
Next one, I actually like this card, and it could go up a little bit more. This one's a sneaky pick here, but 13 is Dusk and Dawn. Now, if Arcades with the walls and stuff like that, I use this in the Arcades deck. Mm-hmm. If that takes off a little bit, like if it keeps staying as one of the top decks commanders that people build, this is going to be a key card in that. I mean, it kills everything but your walls. And then you potentially bring back all your walls if your stuff are in the graveyard and everything.
Yeah, no, this is a great card for that. I really like this in Doran deck as well.
So there's
it goes
multiple
in at least
decks,
2 popular decks.
And getting these in foil is going to be easy because I was getting these for around what you have it here, about $1.50, $2 for that. So
you'll
definitely
it'll be pretty close to bulk.
But then that one could go up depending on if it stays popular, if the wall deck stays popular or Doran stays popular. Yeah. All right. Number 14.
Number 14.
I like this one a lot.
Archfiend of Ifnir. The card is already cheap. Basically, if you discard or cycle a card, all of your opponent's creatures get -1/-1. This card, you could pick it up for under 50 cents.
I know. I was surprised that this one didn't go up.
Blow up.
Yeah, because I remember I spec'd on this early, but I was buying regulars. I actually have some foils of it too.
You should be able to find the foils for under $1.
There's 2 foil printings.
Buy a box promo.
So I have both versions.
But this card is, that new Lich zombie from the Commander product that's Esper. Like where each zombie you attack with, you draw a card and then discard a card. If this card's in play, you're discarding that many cards and just wiping the board.
Killing everybody's stuff, yeah.
It's basically game. This card is really quite good if you're on theme with it.
Yeah. I really like that card a lot. So yeah, the foils, I would definitely shoot for those if you can get those. And then you're going to have to remind me by force.
CCC Red, that's the one that destroys artifacts.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So
this is bulk. You could totally get it for super cheap. The foils are I think over $2 or $3. You should be able to find it for under $1.50 in a little bit. But this is a card that I think will eventually
be in red, be a RCCC.
Compared to Shattering Spree, and I would say it's basically just as good, if not better, in my opinion. Just has more copies out there.
Yep. And then why don't you read us our bulk buys?
Bulk buys will be Samut, Voice of Dissent, Angel of Sanctions, Prowling Shiopapard, I believe I said that right, Avon Mind Sensor, Bantu's Monument, Oketra's Monument, Pull from Tomorrow, Glorybringer, Approach from the Second Sun, Blood Rage Brawler, Bone Picker, Channeler Initiate, Drake Haven, Flame Blade Adept, Harsh Mentor, Nest of Scarabs, Regal Caracal, Sacred Cat, Vizier of Remedies, and then the full art basic lands.
The funny thing is remember you were thinking that Harsh Mentor was going to be a lot bigger than it got.
Yeah. I was probably wrong on that, but it's bulk right now, and I think that's pretty solid.
I wasn't saying you got it wrong. I said we.
Everybody.
Thought it was.
Yeah, everybody thought this was going to be the
Snapcaster, wasn't it, of Red?
Snapcaster, Tarmogoyf, Dark Confidant, and Stone Forge Mystic.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's looking for that red 2-drop like thing that Wizards just doesn't give a fuck about. Like every other color has
or us,
super power.
Where is our CCC? It's the very last one for Red.
Yeah. About that.
We kind of follow suit with that. But yeah, it's kind of funny. There's quite a few of them in there that I'm surprised that they got that low, you know. And then the full art land, it was good. But man, having only the two different... Well, actually, that was the one. But then we got the second one.
It kind of got smushed, too, in between, like, Battle for Zendikar and then Unstable came out pretty soon after.
Well, now that's the only thing I want.
Yeah. And so... But I still would hang on to them. Yeah. I wouldn't toss them into the garbage by any means.
Much more love those than regular lands. So that's what I play with everything.
So those are kind of the cards to, I'd say, keep an eye out for, This isn't Lowry Smiths.
Well, you'll be in Germany, so this last list is probably going to be all me with you having some tweaks and everything. So, but yeah, those are our lists. We have one more week of our cards to look out for, and then by that point, we're 4 weeks after the release. 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So about that time is when you're kind of going to start seeing some dips, if you're going to see dips, or if things aren't actually going to drop.
Oh, that's actually probably a good point to bring up. Yeah, we're all doing this before rotation, so we're at the pre-release when we're recording this.
Yeah, so
we're not actually physically seeing the dips currently.
Yeah, so actually all the prices we're saying that they were at might not actually currently be at that. But that might be the point of looking at these and starting to put together a list of things you want to pick up.
Yeah. Yep.
So
because when cards rotate, like I went out and Approach of the Second Sun is already 25 cents. I went and picked up 4 of them. I think it's, if you're in a white deck that draws a bunch of cards, you can easily win Commander games with that.
Oh yeah.
So that seems like a pretty decent card in my mind. So.
All right, well, that should do it for this week. You guys can follow us on Twitter.
You can Gmail us.
Or shoot us a YouTube.
You keep your YouTubes to yourself.
Just shoot us a YouTube, that subscribing and liking and sharing thing. That's what you shoot us a YouTube for.
Just shoot us a GIF of your face.
Give us some head. Oh, that's
no
head beer. Head beer is what I meant. Backshadowing.
That is not.
That's the name of this episode. It's gonna be called Backshadowing.
Oh my god.
And nothing else. I'm like, what the fuck is in this episode?
We don't need a Patreon. We're just asking for head, apparently. Jesus.
I don't think our wives would like that very much.
No, they wouldn't. They would not.
All right. Well, you guys, Lowry will be back from Germany next week. So
when he keeps on saying that it's Germany, that's like a Spanish
it's
thing.
It's a silent G, Lowry.
No, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's
the G.
Violent and Flemish. So.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Take it easy.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
No, that's my line.
I gotcha.
We know our lines. What are you doing? Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
No. Bye. Done.